Good night, stranger. I'm glad that you found me here in my witch's den. You look tired, and since the night is already spreading its dark blanket over the forest, you should accept my invitation and spend a restful night in my den until morning. Tonight, I will tell you a fairy tale that was very popular in Europe, from the 16th century version from Italy to the best-known version by Charles Perrault from the late 17th century. And in true witch's fashion, I will turn you into an animal, so you can slip into the role of our main protagonist. But don't confuse me with the evil wizard who can turn people into animals and is causing trouble in tonight's story. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, leave your favorite fairy tale in the comments below. Before we start, make sure you're all set up for sleep. Wear your coziest pajama, take your medication if you need to, put your sleep mask on. If you still have the device you are listening on in your hand, set a sleep timer if you need one, or turn off autoplay if you are on YouTube. You can also set an intention for yourself in the comments. You can write, "I will fall asleep easily," to claim a peaceful night for yourself. And without further ado, let's start. Now you may find a comfortable position to lie down and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. I want you to think of 3 things you are grateful for today. Maybe the weather was nice. Maybe you had a good laugh today. Or maybe you shared a moment with a loved one. Allow yourself to be grateful for the small things. Concentrate on your breath again. Every time you inhale and exhale, feel the air flow under your nose. If there are thoughts coming up, look at them like you would look at a cloud in the sky and watch them pass by. With every exhale, your body relaxes deeper. Your feet become heavy. Your legs become heavy. Your shoulders become heavy. Your arms become heavy. Your hands become heavy. And your head becomes heavy. I am now going to count down from 5, and when I reach 1, you will be completely present in tonight's story. 5. You are totally safe and relaxed where you are in this moment in time. 4. A warm and cozy light spreads from your heart throughout your body, its golden glow filling you with a feeling of love and solace. 3. You let go of everything that is still binding you to today. 2. My voice is leading you through the light and beyond. You feel very comfortable as you are lying down, curled up. 1. Smiling to yourself, you stretch luxuriously, and a rumbling sound builds in your chest. You blink, surprised. Your head lies on two furry legs with brown tabby pattern. A cat, you think, but you don't get up. It is way too cozy here, so you just curl up again. You can deal with the situation later. While you are dozing, you hear the opening and closing of a door and footsteps in a nearby room. Even though your eyes are closed, you perk up, turning your ears into the direction of the noise. Muffled voices reach you, and you overhear the conversation without much effort. According to Father's will, I, as the oldest, get the mill. You get the donkey, and you the cat, a man says. What do I want with the cat? You can be the new miller. You can transport goods with your donkey. But what am I to do? Replies a different voice, a bit lighter than the first. This cat is an excellent mouser, which is why I won't mind if you stay to live at the mill for a while, until you have set up a life for yourself. That will be difficult, the lighter voice says glumly. This kingdom is struggling with the offenses of the evil wizard from the neighboring lands, and I know nothing but how to work a mill. A third voice chimes in. I heard that the king is looking for a talented huntsman who can bring him some partridges, as the local specimen are so shy, no one can catch them. Maybe you should reskill. But in the meantime, I'm sure our dear brother can use every helping hand now that he is the new miller. There's a sigh and a grumble, doors moving again, and then silence. You must have nodded off, because the opening of the door to the room you are lying in startles you a bit. A disgruntled sound escapes your throat, and you whip your head around to look up at a young man with straight dark hair and a clean-shaven face. He stares at you with sad eyes, then steps into the room and closes the door behind himself. I have gotten all the worst, he says to you, coming closer. Maybe I should make some fur gloves out of you, so you can be of at least some use to me. He comes closer and tries to grab you, but you spring away and swat at him with your paw. Leave me alone, you crazy man, you shout, jumping on the window ledge to gain some leverage. Listen, you continue, making use of the fact that the miller's son has stopped in his tracks in shock. You don't need to kill me. Cat's fur doesn't make for sturdy gloves anyway. Instead, you should have a pair of boots made for me, so I can go out in society and help you make money. You can talk? The miller's son asks in disbelief. Yes, and if you don't believe a talking cat can make you any money, you are beyond help, you reply, licking at your paw, sulking. Right at that moment, a clattering sounds from below the window, and you hear a voice exclaiming, Shoes! New shoes! Or reparations of old pairs. The shoemaker? The miller's son says, looking at you like you predicted the end of the world. Then he shrugs. You know what, he says, sounding resigned. I might as well get you that pair of boots. So he invites the shoemaker in, who measures your legs, all while keeping a straight face, and leaves you with a pair of nice red leather boots. You put them on and think about how you could make some money for your master, and therefore yourself. Your mind wanders to partridges. I will go and earn us a living, little miller, you say. Constantine, the man corrects you in resignation, with a satisfied feeling one only gets if one has a new idea. You grab a jute sack lying in the corner of the room where a few barrels of grains are stored, and you reach into one of them to fill the bottom of your sack for good measure. You tie up the sack and fling it over your shoulder, turning to Constantine to say, "All right, Connie boy, I'll see ya when I see ya." And with that, you march out the door upright on your 2 hind legs. Once you reach the forest where the partridges live, you set down the sack on a grassy clearing. It is a beautiful spring day, and the golden sunlight falls in single beams through the foliage, illuminating spots on the forest floor. You lift your nose into the air and smell the tree bark, fresh grass, and then, with a light breeze, nearby partridges. You spread the sack some more and then distribute the grains loosely. Grabbing the string that belongs to the sack, you lie it out flatly until you reach a dense bush you can hide in. There, you lie in wait. It is not long until you see movement on the floor. Grey dots moving up and down, and from side to side. The partridges are well disguised between the undergrowth, but you are a predator after all, and your sharp cat eyes can make them out easily. Soon, the partridges find the grain, picking away. When several of them have hopped onto the sack to eat, you pull the string in a swift motion, closing the sack and trapping the birds that chirp loudly. "Bingo," you mutter, strolling over to the sack and picking it up again. Your next stop is the king's palace. When you arrive at the ornate gilded gate protecting the drive in front of the palace, 2 guards in red dress uniforms stop you. "Where to?" the guard to your right shouts. "To the king," you reply. "A cat to the king? Are you crazy?" the other guard asks. But before you can feel offended, the second guard chimes in. "Let the cat pass. The king is bored. A talking cat might amuse him." So they open the gates for you, and you saunter along the gravel road, at whose end lies a white castle, with towers and crenellations shining in the sun. A step leads up to the main door, and the guard there guides you inside, where you walk through the entrance hall into the king's throne room. It has a high ceiling and is well lit by big windows. A red carpet lies on the parquet floor, connecting the door with a podium on which the throne sits, shaded by a velvet canopy and flanked by 2 gilded candelabra on pillars. You approach the king, who wears a wig of grey curls and a red overcoat adorned with decorative bows on its sleeves. When you come to a halt before him, you bow deeply, declaring, "My master, the Marquis of Carabas, sends his warm regards and presents you with partridges." "Partridges!" The king is beside himself with joy when you open your sack to back up your claim. "Wonderful!" he exclaims. "It has been such a long time since we were able to prepare partridges. I am indebted to you, cat. Please call the treasurer, that he may fill the sack with as much gold as possible." When you return to the mill, you see Constantine sitting by the window with his chin propped on his hand, looking downcast. You creep up on the house, just to burst through the door for dramatic effect. "What's with the long face?" you call out, as Constantine jumps in his chair. Opening the sack, you empty out the gold coins onto the floor. "I brought you some gold from the king. He gives his profuse thanks for sending him partridges." "What do you mean?" Constantine's face twists in confusion, his eyes getting so big that you think they might pop out of his skull. How did you manage to do that? You just shrug and sit down to take off your boots after this long day, so you can stretch out your legs. I just caught some partridges for the king. This money will last you for quite some time, but I will put these boots back on tomorrow, and I can help you become more fortunate, because I told the king that you were a marquis. From then on, your daily routine always looks the same. You go on the hunt for partridges, take them to the palace, and bring gold back home for your master. The king becomes well acquainted with you, and so do the servants and guards. So you can come and go to and from the palace as you please. One day, you sit by the oven in the kitchen downstairs to warm your fur. Suddenly, the door flies open, and the coachman in his black cloak comes in, huffing and puffing. The king and the princess can get lost, for all I care. I planned on going to the tavern to have a drink and play cards, but now they want me to take them for a drive into nature, to the lake. Without listening to the coachman's ongoing nagging, you jump up from your spot and sprint back home to Constantine as fast as you can. "Master," you yell as soon as you reach the courtyard. "Come out and follow me quickly." Constantine steps out the door, looking puzzled as ever. "If you want to become a marquis and be rich, you need to come with me to the lake and take a bath right now." You rush over to grab his hand and drag him away before he can protest. You make your way back along the forest track, but this time stop where the road opens toward a big lake surrounded by trees. Luckily, the weather is good, even though not very warm, and the sun is glittering on the water. You climb down the embankment and tell Constantine, "Take your clothes off and get into the lake, quickly." "But why?" Constantine complains. "Have I ever done you any wrong?" you ask. "Just do as I say. Soon the king and the princess will arrive, and you have to be the Marquis of Carabas." Begrudgingly, Constantine agrees and finally jumps into the lake. You shiver, thinking about how cold and wet he must feel. "Just play along," you call out to him. Grab his clothes and take off with them, hiding them behind a bush away from the waterside. As soon as you are done, you hear hooves clopping and see the king's carriage approaching. Your Majesty, you wail. "My master, the Marquis of Carabas, went to take a bath in the lake, but a thief stole his clothes. Now he must remain in the lake, will likely catch a cold and die." You pretend to cry, but since you are a cat, you don't need to be worried about no tears coming out. The king's carriage comes to an abrupt halt, and the king sticks his head through the window. "Quickly," he calls out. "Someone fetch the Marquis some clothes." Immediately, a servant jumps down from the carriage and starts racing back towards the palace. Everything is going according to plan, you think. You know that Constantine will easily appear as a full-fledged marquis once he wears the king's clothes. If you are lucky, the princess will also enjoy the company of the young marquis, as you believe that your master is not bad-looking. But you have to hurry, so you run along the forest track that the king's carriage must take later. Leaving the forest, you reach a vast meadow. Farmers are making hay there, and it must be over 100 of them. "Whose meadow is this?" you yell, drawing the attention of some of the workers near you. "It belongs to the wizard," one of them answers. "Listen," you call. "The king will pass by soon, and if he asks you whose meadow this is, You have to answer that it belongs to the Marquis of Carabas.
Why would we do that? One farmer questions. The wizard will punish us and turn us into animals if we defy him.
Well, you reply, you will be punished and turned into animals if you don't do as I say. But if you comply, it will be your fortune. You start running again until you reach a field of wavy corn that is being harvested by what must be more than 200 farmers. Whose grain is this? You exclaim.
It belongs to the wizard, sounds the answer.
Listen, the king will pass by soon, and if he asks you whose grain this is, you have to answer that it belongs to the Marquis of Carabas. You will be punished and turned into animals if you don't do as I say. But if you comply, it will be your fortune. Finally, you reach a dense and splendid forest with tall and thick trees. When you step onto the road leading through the woodland, you soon see what must be more than 300 workers cutting down some of the trees. Whose forest is this? You ask.
It belongs to the wizard.
Listen, the king will pass by soon, and if he asks you whose forest this is, you have to answer that it belongs to the Marquis of Carabas. You will be punished and turned into animals if you don't do as I say, but if you comply, it will be your fortune. As you walk away, the workers look at you in wonder, and you can smell a hint of fear. They likely have never seen a talking cat in boots before, and the fact that you are an animal makes your threats all the more realistic. You trudge onward until the forest thins out and reveals a castle not unlike the king's palace, but built high on a rocky cliff, looming over you. So you climb up the steep hill, and once you reach the gate, slip past the guards into the courtyard, and then boldly enter the wizard's great hall. It is built from grey stone and lit by wall sconces, but the ornaments decorating the walls and ceilings are entirely made of gold and gemstones that glisten in the flickering light. A big window on the far side of the room shines light on the wizard, but because he is facing you, you cannot see his face, only the silhouette of his pointy hat.
What do you want?
The wizard asks, with a deep and threatening voice, stepping closer so you can discern a midnight blue cloak and a long dark beard. The wizard is tall and scrawny, looking down on you with scornful eyes of cold, icy blue. You greet him with a deep, reverential bow and declare, "I have been told that you are capable of turning into any animal at will." You try to lace your voice with amazement. "I am willing to believe that it is possible to turn into a dog, a fox, or a wolf, but to me it does seem impossible that anyone could turn into, say, an elephant, no matter how powerful they are. So I decided to call on you to see for myself if it is true."
"That is all? That shouldn't be a problem."
The wizard snaps his fingers, and suddenly a big grey elephant appears in front of you, almost reaching the ceiling. It flaps its large ears and lifts its trunk to trumpet. "That is enormous," you say. "Truly amazing. But can you turn into a lion too?"
"Easily," the elephant replies, with a wizard's voice,
and in the blink of an eye, a lion stands before you. When the lion roars, you pretend to be afraid and exclaim, "This is incredible and unprecedented, beyond my wildest dreams." But you let your voice trail off, looking to the floor bashfully. "It is a different thing entirely. If you could turn into something as small as a mouse. You have proven that you are more powerful than any other wizard, but that must be too difficult, even for you." "Of course I can." The wizard disagrees, and right away a little grey mouse is jumping around the room. You are quicker, though, and as your instincts set in, you grab the mouse in a single bound and devour it. "Oops," you say, wiping your mouth. Walking through the castle to the main entrance, you tell all the servants you can find that the evil wizard is defeated and that their new master is the Marquis of Carabas. When you reach the stairs leading up to the entrance, you don't have to wait long until the king's carriage appears at the foot of the hill, making its way up to the castle. The moment the carriage stops before the stairs, you jump down and open the carriage door for the king. "Your Majesty," you say, "this is the castle of my master, the Marquis, who welcomes you with great honor and will be grateful for the rest of his life for your visit." The king climbs out first, followed by the princess, whose powdered hair is arranged in a curly updo on either side of her head, wearing a gown from luxurious light and dark blue fabric with floral motifs, gemmed and nacred. The dress's puffed sleeves start off the shoulder and end in white frills. She looks behind her, smiling at Constantine, who is in one of the king's red juste au corps, tight breeches and dark stockings, frilly sleeves and a cravat. On his head sits a dark hat with a plume, and he looks positively noble. By the way the princess is looking at your young master, your plan must have been successful. While the king and the princess marvel at the facade of the castle, Constantine stoops to whisper to you, "How did you do that? Wherever we went in the carriage, the people we came across would tell the king that the land belongs to the Marquis of Carabas." "I have my ways," you say with a smile. Raising your voice, you continue, "Let me lead you into the great hall." Constantine offers the princess's arm to help her up the stairs, and as you guide the little group through the rooms of the castle, the king's smile grows with every display of splendor. "Marquis," the king says, "I was unaware of the extent of your prosperity. I would like you to consider my proposition to accept my daughter's hand in marriage. That would make you the future king, and you," he says, turning to you, "the prime minister." You smile at Constantine, who looks happy in his new position and not opposed to the king's idea. While the humans are talking, you decide to sit on a chair by the window to warm up in the sun. You start to feel very sleepy, and slowly your eyes fall closed. The chatter of the king, the princess, and Constantine fading away. You feel comfortable and calm. You become aware of my voice again. I will now count to 5, and once I reach the number 5, you will fall asleep. 1. You feel a comfortable and cozy warmth spread through your entire body. 2. Your muscles relax completely. 3. You feel safe and full of love. 4. Your mind is quiet and at ease. 5. You drift off into a sound and restful sleep. You are protected here in my witch's den.